Hello, my name is Katia Serrano Velarde, and I'm researcher at Heidelberg University and co-author of the EJE special issue, Privatization of Higher Education, Comparative Perspectives. Georg Krücken and I had the idea for this special issue about 2 years ago, when the implications of the financial crisis started to show in higher education institutions and systems worldwide. This was the time when the new UK government tripled existing tuition fees for UK and European citizens. This was also the time when European students would protest against the commercialization of higher education and the loss of more traditional academic values, humanist values, republican values. What these events have in common, we think, is that they describe a public debate that takes place around the notion of increasing the level of private contribution to higher education. And as researchers, we started to wonder whether we had analytical concepts that were broad enough, sharp enough to make sense of these increasingly heterogeneous phenomena. There are, of course, concepts out there. There are, of course, categories out there that are useful. Marketization, commercialization, managerialization are terms that are widely used to describe this type of process, this type of development. But we think that they all seem to capture but one or two sides of the phenomenon at stake. Privatization, on the other hand, privatization would allow us to capture different aspects, different level of analysis. It would be able to comprehend the political debate, the economic scenario and processes behind privatization, would allow us to look into the organizational debates, organizational perspectives of privatization, and of course also the individual implications of this type of process. Now, our objective with this special issue is that we want to test the theoretical and analytical potential of this term privatization with regards to newer trends in higher education. And the methodological twist we propose, if you so want, is to do so in a comparative perspective. Thus, to be aware of the national path, the national specificity, historical moments that lead to a specific type of privatization scenario, but on the other hand, being able also to compare different scenarios, different paths, and to capture, to identify commonalities across the world, across countries. So we assembled, I think, state-of-the-art work on privatization of higher education, trying to map systematically those facets, those different levels we were talking about, thereby advancing theory building in higher education studies. The special issue is one in 3 parts. 3 different approaches to higher education privatization are thereby highlighted. We have a part that highlights or discusses the macro analytical perspective of privatization, defining privatization as cost sharing between state and private actors. We have a part with case studies from different countries, US, China, and an African country, Kenya, that would allow us to look into the meso-analytical perspectives of privatization, that would allow us to look into the organizational aspects that are inherent to privatization, defining thereby privatization as hybridization of organizational structures, meaning the mixing of financial asset interests, but also ideology or values within one specific organizational aspect. So really highlighting different paths to privatization. And we have a 3rd section on the microanalytical aspects of privatization, looking into the implications of privatization at the individual level. So what we propose with this special issue is really an attempt to cut across ideological lines of political ideology, by offering a theoretically informed discussion that is both international, truly international, and interdisciplinary. We wish to engage a discussion that rises above normative cleavages and tries to capture the heterogeneity of practices that emerge across the world by pointing out what is in common. And we really hope that you will enjoy this special issue, and welcome you to discuss with us what you think of it, to come back to us with your questions and comments and suggestions. Thank you very much.